Guys, I have been looking for one of these things for so long. It is a 2008 Kawasaki Brute Force 750. And if you guys don't know, these things are incredibly fun. They've got the same V-twin power plant in them that the Can-Ams have. And it only makes about 50 horsepower, but they are incredibly torquey. So, I mean, you can stand this thing up on a wheelie so easy. And it just makes them really fun to drive. It's also got these 30-inch silverbacks on it, which I've never actually owned this tire before, but I really love the way they look. And as far as I can tell, they pull really good as well. Also got the SS wheels on there, which are pretty cool. Those are kind of rare to see nowadays. As you can see, this thing's got a ton of other accessories on it. Rad relocate, snorkels. It's got this bumper on it, which is pretty cool. I've never really seen these on here before, but it kind of makes the front end of this thing look a lot better. It's also got, I'm not sure, probably like a 2-inch high lifter lift. See back there. And a rear bumper on here as well. And this thing came with a full parts bike, as you can see here. Pretty much complete. It's got all the suspension components. I have the shocks and everything as well. And it's got this, which looks like a big gun exhaust. I can't really tell because the stickers are worn off, but I might end up swapping that one over to this one because right now it's just got the stock exhaust on it. So I ended up paying $800 for everything, which isn't too bad, but he did say he's pretty sure the crank is seized on both engines. Because this one, he said he let his daughter ride and she just kept it in low gear wide open until it locked up. So it's not good. This one, he didn't really say what happened to it, but he said it's apparently got like a built motor, like a forged crank and forged rods and stuff like that. So he's got me curious now. We'll get them in the shop, start troubleshooting them, make sure they're locked up. And if they are, we'll start tearing them down. I have no idea how I'm gonna get this one off. Probably end up just using the hoist in there, but we'll worry about that later. First things first, let's just turn the key on, see how many miles and hours this thing has. 1,081 miles. Okay, so this thing doesn't have many miles on it at all. 253 hours, that's not too bad. I'm not too sure why the two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive lights blinking like that. I remember seeing that on my old Brute before, but I don't remember what causes it. I doubt the full drive works. Yeah. This thing did have a, well, I guess it was on the other one, but you can see the little solenoid thing on there that'll put this thing in limp mode if your belt hits the little switch in there. He did have the little block off piece, the night performance block off piece that was on the other one, so I'll probably end up putting it on here, and that should eliminate a lot of these little electrical issues. Probably won't help the four-wheel drive, but that is really nice to see. It's only got about 1,100 miles on it. That's kind of how my other Brute was too, with the locked up crank. I'm not too sure why they don't last very long. You know, the seller said his daughter ran this thing in low gear wide open, and that's exactly what my previous four-wheeler I bought, same style. It was a 2012. He said he put it in low, ran it down the highway, locked it up. So it's kind of interesting that I have another four-wheeler pretty similar to the one I used to have, but the front brakes on this thing are pretty bad. Pretty sure this is the front brakes, but the left side over here, they still work pretty good. Parking brake and everything works great. So I think this is the diff lock lever. Front differential control, yeah. Not too sure what that little switch right there is for. Doesn't seem to do anything. It's probably for a light bar because they seem to have this big bar up here, and I'm guessing they had a light bar across it. And this whole bumper up here, it's completely loose. Oh, I didn't even notice the lights are red in there. What the heck? I'm not a huge fan of these red little guards right here. I kind of want to paint them back black or get some black ones to put in their place because that kind of just makes it look weird. He said that this thing was completely locked up, so I guess I'll just try to hit the starter button and see what happens. Yeah, nothing. That's no good. And now I completely lost display. I ain't ever seen nothing like that before. What the heck? What happened? Okay, it's back. Oh my gosh, you had me so worried there for a second. I guess I'll go ahead and throw a jump box on it real quick and just make sure it's not a dead battery or anything. I might even go ahead and try to jump the solenoid and just make sure it's not that. But if I still can't get it to turn over with the starter, we'll just have to take the access cover off over here. And I'll have to put a wrench on it, see if we can turn it by hand. All right, let's see what happens. Nothing. Okay. Oh. Nothing. It's not looking good, boys. She's looking locked up. Oh, yeah. It's completely locked up. Both ways, wow. Oh, that makes me think it's not the crank. I'm gonna just go ahead and say that I think it's pretty rare for the rod bearings on this style engine to just completely lock up like that, you know, in both directions. I could understand a single cylinder, you know, that uses the ball bearings instead of the little bushings. But I've never seen an engine like this completely lock up due to rod bearings. So I'm starting to think that we might actually get lucky with this thing. I might not end up having to put a crank in this thing after all. I'm thinking that maybe just a timing chain broke or something along those lines and it just fell down and locked it up. So it's kind of building my motivation back into this thing. I'm kind of excited to get into this motor and see what actually went wrong with it. But first, I'm gonna have to pull all these plastics and stuff out of the way, which is gonna be a chore in itself. But I've got to say, one thing that I love about the Brute Force is they're so easy to work on. Believe it or not, these things are very, very, very simple, very straight to the point, and you'll see what I mean whenever I get to actually pulling the motor out, if it gets to that. First, I've got to clear some space around out here, move some things around, and make this thing our top priority. It does seem to be leaking oil from somewhere. Pretty bad. Not too sure where it's coming from. Can't really see it on the engine case anywhere. Just on like that drain tube right there. So that's pretty interesting. I'm gonna check that out. Hope the drain plug ain't stripped out or something. Got the fan unplugged. And coolant vent line. Oh, these aren't even glued down, are they? Wow, I feel so stupid. Well, that makes it a lot easier. There we go. Before I pull these radiator hoses off, I'm gonna just go ahead and pull this cap off and see if there's any coolant in it. Just because I'm curious. It's a little bit low. Looks like it's coolant in there though. It's green. It smells like coolant. But in order to drain it, you gotta take that hose off down there. That's right off the end of the water pump. And you can see it's really tough to get to, so I'm gonna just go ahead and pull this fender well out of the way. It's not too hard, just Phillips heads all the way around, 210 millimeters at the bottom. Also, these graphics over here, man, I hate when people put graphics on four-wheelers. I love the stock graphics. But whenever people just put random stuff on there, that it bothers me so much. I don't know if it messes with my OCD or what, but I will be taking that money off the side right there eventually. All right, that should be it. Yep. Now we can get this hose off. Try to save as much coolant as possible in the process. Oh wow, it's already leaking. I just barely loosened it. That's crazy. Oh my God. Oh no, this is going dirt on. Oh my goodness gracious, that was terrible. That was horrible. Oh my goodness. Okay, that did not go as planned at all. Anyway, go ahead and pull these hoses off now. That is a Phillips. Ow. I do have to take the ignition and the gear selector knob off. It's not hard at all. Just unscrew that. And that has a bolt on the bottom. All right, now I should be able to pull this whole front clip off in one piece. Oh, gotta unplug the headlights. Always forget about the headlights. Now we can get a good look at that big old V-twin sitting in there. Can also get a good look at these snorkels and how they're ran. You can see how the intake snorkel's like wrinkled up there in the front. Not good. And then over here on the belt box side, you see this snorkel over here. It's got some like rubber hose and it's kind of just really weak. It just kinks up really bad. So I'm not too sure how I feel about these snorkels. I might end up just going through and running my own snorkels eventually because I prefer a flex pipe over this hard pipe personally. But either way, I'm gonna have to go through and make sure they're sealed anyway. So I might just run a snorkel kit myself. No, it wasn't even with silicone. It was just that stuck on there, jeez. I honestly have no idea why I haven't checked the air filter this whole time. I haven't even opened this box yet. Oh. Ew. Yeah, there's quite a bit of oil in there. Is this bolted down? Yeah. I mean, it don't look that well. I mean, obviously the filter looks pretty rough, but there's a ton of oil in there. It's just these two hose clamps down here at the bottom. And the other one's up here on the top. And there is a sensor down here. Not sure what it is. You can see they had to splice the wires at some point for it. I don't know if it's like an intake air temp sensor or what, but there is a vent line right here too. I think it's the crankcase vent line. I usually just try to pop it up off the throttle body first and then I'll try to get them off. But I might try to actually go ahead and pull them off real quick just because there's not a clamp on that hose right there. There is a little vent line right here, but it doesn't go anywhere. Not too sure where that's supposed to go. I don't know if it's for like the front diff or something. And then on this side, you have this one. And, oh, wow. That's not good. Because this is your idle control valve. Similar to the Polaris, this is what controls your idle. You know, your air comes in from the air box, goes around, and then there's a little actuator in here that goes out and it sends a certain amount of air back into through your throttle body. Okay, so there's also a vent line down there, just with a block off on it. I don't know what that's for. Okay. Oh my goodness. That's about right. Of course the battery bolts are gonna be stripped out. There we go. Set it out. I'm not too sure what sensor this is. You can see it has like a little hose that goes down into the throttle body. It's kind of the same area though that goes in as this side does over here for the idle air control. So I'm sure it's probably a sensor for that. Then you just got the fuel line down here for the fuel rail. TPS sensor down here. Can't really see it on camera, but it's back there. See if we can get it to pop off there. Yeah. All right. Oh, that's the hose for the other side of the idle air. Idle air control hose. I can set that out of the way. Being as I can't put this thing on top dead center because it is locked up, I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and take this little side cover off first instead of one of the valve covers. That way I can get a good look at the timing chains and stuff. But in order to do that, I'm gonna have to go ahead and drain the oil. The oil in this thing looked pretty rough just from the dipstick. I mean, yeah. I mean, it is like jet black. So if the crank is locked up, I can definitely see why. I mean, that is terrible. Yeah, that oil is black, son. Wow. I think I have to take this bolt off in order to get the case off. I'm not too sure. That makes sense, right? Does that not come off? Maybe not. Oh my gosh, like I wish I could smell how bad the oil smells in here. Like when I just took this bolt off that goes right in there into the crankcase, it smells terrible. So my theory of the crank not being burnt up is not looking so good. Golly. That bolt is in rough shape. There we go. Now it should come off. It's getting caught on something. Yeah, I bet you got to take that impeller off. Is that a 10 millimeter? And usually these are reverse threads because of the way they spin. So I guess I'll try tightening it first. Oh God. Okay, no, it's correct threads, it's right hand threads. Well, that would explain why it wouldn't come off. Let's try it again. There we go. Everything in there looks perfect. That looks aftermarket, that stator. Yeah, that crank is not moving at all. Oh, I think the timing chains are actually on the other side. I can't remember. It's been so long, man. Dude, it's completely locked up. Like there's not even enough slack in there for me to pull the starter gear out. See, it's just 3 plugs for the stator and then the crank sensor. I do have the flywheel puller for this thing, so I'll go ahead and get it pulled off real quick. I hope this is the right one anyway. Yeah. This flywheel is actually in really good shape. Don't have any nicks or dings in it. Those bolts look brand new too. I wonder if it's a new starter clutch in there. Go ahead and get this key out of here so we don't lose it. But everything else in here still looks fine. I mean, that rear cylinder timing chain up there is still intact. So there's not much else we can do from here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take this rear cylinder valve cover off, see what everything under there looks like. And I'll go ahead and get this exhaust out of the way too, just so you guys can see a little bit better. I do know some machines have bolts behind these little covers, so maybe that's how this one is. I can't remember. Yep, it's got a bolt down there, of course. There it goes. There was another machine that I've worked on before that was similar to this. They had the bolts inside the valve covers like that. I just can't remember what it was. Oh no. There we go. Don't look bad in here at all. Now I kind of forgot to before I took it off, but I do need to mark this as the rear cylinder so that I don't accidentally put this back on the front whenever I go back together with it. Because you can see the cam sits in this cover, so it does wear to the specific cam. You want to put all these back exactly how they came apart. So at this point, unless something miraculously happened up under this front valve cover, it's pretty much gotta be the crank at this point. It's caused it to be locked up, so I guess I'm just gonna put this valve cover back on and just put a couple bolts in it just to keep the dirt and stuff out, because I'm gonna just go ahead and pull the whole motor out. Should just pop right out. Might be easier said than done. Definitely easier said than done. Jeez. There we go. Jeez. And it's just a soft line up here. There we go. Get this thing out of the way. No, it looks like everything in there is still intact. I can see the chain, sprocket, everything's still together, so it was worth a shot checking it out, but I'm gonna just go ahead and pull this whole motor out and tear the whole thing down. We really don't have that much stuff left to unhook. Just got the spark plug wires. Oh. Did not mean to do that. And then the ground and the starter wire up there. The starter's up there on the front on these engines. That's the ground wire. Then we got the shifting linkage back here, which I am gonna mark, because So it can be a little tough to line back up sometimes. There we go. Got the neutral and reverse indicator sensors over here. Wow, those are in pretty rough shape. And then I think this is the oil pressure sensor. It's right on the side of that oil filter housing, so that's what I would think it would be. Okay, it's a Phillips in there. There we go. Got that starter wire off too. I think this coolant reservoir is going to be in the way too. So I'm just go ahead and pull it off. And it looks like there's a sensor behind there as well. And this down here looks like a speed sensor, if I had to guess. Oh wow, it's full of water. That's not good. And that looks like everything on this side. So now I'm gonna have to move over here and get this belt cover and the clutches and everything off. You see there's a couple plugs here for the shift actuator. And the little switch that puts it in limp mode. If you blow a belt, you get slack in your belt or whatever. I'm probably gonna take these off and block all this stuff off. I do have the block off for it. So I think I'm probably gonna do that eventually. I don't remember which way it's supposed to be facing, on or off, but it's on the on position right now. Quite a bit of dust, debris in there. Go ahead and pull these clutches off. Okay, so that's reverse threads. Interesting. And that's normal threads. Even more interesting. Pretty sure this is the right tool. Well, it's kind of funny. These clutches are fairly small compared to the side-by-sides. It's kind of funny. Usually, you know, the back piece back here is just like a plastic cover, but this is literally the case. Like, that's the engine case. This whole thing. There is a little plug down here. Not too sure what that goes to, but go ahead and unhook it. Golly, sucker was on there. Now the front and rear draw shaft is probably the easiest thing to remove on these machines. They just have like a little quick release. So you kind of just push them back. And that's it. It's literally disconnected. It's like a quick release on an air chuck. Super simple. And then same thing for the rear back here. Pull it back. Oh God, okay. I can't do that one by hand. I might end up having to unbolt it from the frame in order to get enough slack in there, but other than that, all that's left is these motor mounts. You can see there's a bolt up here in the front, a bolt up here in the back, and whenever we get those out, we'll be able to slide the motor up just a little bit, be able to get that rear drive shaft off, and then we will finally be able to get this motor yanked out of here. Rear drive shaft's off, and we are fully disconnected. So now I'm just gonna have to get this thing out of here somehow by hand. I do have a hoist. I'd rather not use it if I don't have to. Oh my gosh, that thing's heavy. There we go. All right. Now we can start tearing this motor down. Cylinders actually look fairly new on this thing. I feel like it's got a pretty new top end on it. Again, this thing is not on top dead center, so it is probably going to hate me. Also, I was supposed to take this tensioner off, but I completely forgot because I'm an idiot. Got a little bit of scratching right there on the lobe. Very, very, very minimal. It definitely looks like a low hour machine. Oh, okay, these washers are free in here. Okay. Should have expected that. Oh yeah, I forgot these have a little, oil passage that goes in between the head and down into the case down there. It's pretty interesting. See, it's just a little passage tube with O-rings on both sides. I've never seen anything like that except on these brute force engines. Cylinder head don't look too bad though. Looks like it's got about 300 hours on it. Seems accurate. And there's a couple 8mm holding the cylinder down. Seems a little excessive, but I'm sure the engineers had their reasons. Jeez. Oh no. The cylinder's cracked. Dang it. That whole sleeve is cracked down there. Oh, this makes me, I'm scared. See if we can get this thing out of here. Oh, it's like wedged in. There it goes. Jeez, dude. Come off there. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow. Yeah, this thing definitely blew up. Look at that. I can't really tell. Oh yeah, okay. This piston's not even attached. Or wait. Oh, the rod's not attached. Okay. Yikes, dude. Wow. There we go. Piston's broke too. Golly. Look at this monstrosity. Rod's just sitting down in there. Let me get a light real quick. That's a hot rod. See it in there? Hot rods. It's definitely aftermarket. You see that? The rod's all twisted up. The crank actually doesn't look too bad. I don't feel any gashes on it. See if this rod bearing's loose. Nope. See if I can try to get this thing out of here. I don't know what it's hung up on down there. Oh no, dude. Oh my gosh. How did I not even see that? Guys, there's a hole in the case. Bro, no. You can't even hardly see it, but look up in there behind the starter. See the rod in there? little window in the block. Oh my gosh, dude. And there's no way I would have seen that because it's right up behind the starter. That is crazy, man. Wow. Thank God he gave me a full parts bike over there that has a full engine in it as well. He said the bottom end's locked up in it too, but I am really, really, really hoping that the cases are okay. Golly, that sucks. Man, I cannot believe that this entire engine is trash. That's wild. Trying to get this rod out of here. Oh, there we go. Hot rods. Just based off the way that this engine was built from what I've seen, you know, not using hose clamps, a lot of bolts missing. I kind of feel like it was somebody that rebuilt it on their own, not a professional shop. Or if it was a professional shop, they did not do a professional job. And I'm guessing they didn't torque down these bolts right. That one's sheared off. You can see the bolt completely sheared, but this one's missing. It could have sheared off too, or it could have came loose, and that's what caused it to peel off and shear that way. Because what it looks like that bolt broke off and then it sheared off this way. See how it like twisted the bolt off? So kind of looks like somebody didn't torque these rods down properly. Here's the rod cap. Wow. Even that is completely deformed. Jeez. What's crazy is it like blew the whole inside of the starter apart too. Am I really not gonna be able to get that starter off without pulling that off first? Bro. That's crazy. Oh my gosh, dude. I've never seen so much damage on an engine that you couldn't notice from the outside, you know? You can really see that hole in there now though. Massive window in there. Oh. Man, that sucks. Man. Well, can't really get much worse than that. So I guess let's go ahead, tear this other side down. See what it looks like. Just need to pull this tensioner off first, which kind of sucks because I don't have my little impact that gets in here. I'm gonna have to use a wrench. okay. Oh, you see the little oil passage in there? It's got O-rings on both sides. It's pretty cool. Oh my goodness. Make a mess, why not? So you can see this cylinder's still in great shape. I mean, it's still got the cross hatching in it. Let me get you guys in here where you can see. Look at this top ring. Look how small that thing is. Like the second ring is, you know, fairly beefy like it should be, but this top ring is tiny, like extremely tiny. Super flimsy. There's no way that's the compression ring on this thing. Like, just look at the size comparison. It's like way smaller, way thinner. It's so weird. Yeah, this one's the same way. You see the first ring. I mean, it's a little thicker than this one. And the second ring is way bigger. Maybe they're supposed to be like that. Theoretically. Okay, yeah. Oh man. I'll show you guys in a second, but this crank is trash too. I was kind of hoping that maybe it wasn't damaged, but it's really bad. Bro, I don't know why these wrist pins are so hard to get out. Like, this is ridiculous. I literally had to break the other one to get it out as well on the other side. There we go. Jeez. Yeah, y'all can see this piston's in really bad shape too. Skirt crack down there at the bottom. You can see it was getting really hot. Had a lot of contact with the cylinder. The rod bearing on this side actually doesn't feel too bad. I mean, obviously it's cooked because it should just fall by itself. The fact that it sits up like that by itself proves that it is burnt up. Now we gotta get these timing chains out of the way. It's pretty cool how this works. You can see it just comes off the crank right there to this gear. And then there's a shaft that goes all the way across. There's a gear right behind this one back here for the rear cylinder. And then over here on the other side, you see that shaft comes straight across, and then there's a gear over here for the front cylinder. So you do have to get that shaft out of there before you can split these cases. And then this chain over here runs right off the crank down to the oil pump. And then this shaft comes out to the water pump on the case. So that's what drives the oil pump and water pump. It's a pretty important chain right there. It's probably not gonna have enough room to come off there. No, I'll have to go ahead and just pull the whole oil pump off. Oil pump don't look bad at all. Don't have any major scarring in it at all. There's a whole lot of tensioners on these machines. And I doubt this will come off. Yeah, gonna have to pull that gear off first. I actually got to screw the bolt into this piece up here. You see it's got threads in it. And then just use a pry bar. Get in here and pop it out just like that. Somehow that ended up in my jacket. Now I can get this chain out of here. I will say this is probably the hardest part whenever you're going back together with it, trying to get that little keeper back in there and those bolts started. I remember fighting it for a while on my other machine. Now the shaft should just slide right through. Okay, maybe not. Took a little bit of persuasion to get it out of there, but came right out. See, it's just O-ringed. Pops in there. It's got a ton of metal on that little magnet in there. Not good. Oh yeah, it's just the snap ring. The heck, there's a bug in there. What the heck? Now all that should be left is this shifting linkage up here. Go ahead and get this breather hose out of the way. And I'm pretty sure you're supposed to make sure it's in neutral whenever you take this apart, which I can't remember if it is or not. Let me look at the gear shifter. Okay, the gear shifter shows reverse, but I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Pretty sure I gotta take this off too. I don't know if it releases that or what, but I know there is like a little ball bearing in here that kind of locks it in place. You see there's supposed to be a little ball and into that stuck down in there. Let me get a magnet. Oh my gosh. I just freaking threw this thing by accident. Luckily I didn't break it. Got a screwdriver with a magnet on it. See if that'll work. Oh yeah. Oh. You see it's literally just a little ball that little gear selector sits in. That's kind of what locks it into gear, because it's just sitting there by gravity feed. And whenever you move that shaft, the ball just falls into the little slot. And it's, you know, spring loaded too. It's literally just a little piece that that mechanism locks onto. And that should be everything I need to do in order to split the cases. So we'll go ahead and get all these case bolts out. So I'm just gonna try to leave this transmission where it's at. That way I know where everything's at. Obviously this case is trash, but at least if I leave it all in there, I'll know exactly how it is. I don't want to disassemble it and try to figure out how to put it all back together whenever the time comes. Obviously this crank is trash too, and I'll show you guys what I mean by that. You can see in there, it is severely damaged on the bottom. Oh, wow, this rod's locked up now. Hold up. You can see the damage down there. I mean, it is really bad. You can see the giant gash right there. You can see this case does have some damage here too on the inside. Bunch of nicks, and it's cracked right there. The transmission on these things are super simple. You can see this main shaft right here just goes through, and that's what your clutch and everything bolts onto. So your crank turns, and when the clutch is engaged, it's turning this shaft right here. And as it turns, that gear in there is turning that gear is turning this gear, and this gear, when the case is together, is what's turning this gear. That gear turns the gear down here, and that goes to both your drive shafts. And you can see it's rotating this way, so it's turning counterclockwise. And then when you go all the way back, and this gear engages, now it's turning clockwise. So that's reverse. As soon as it comes disengaged, you got neutral. It's just coasting. And then you bring it in here. And one of those is high, and the next one is low. So it's super simple how these transmissions work. They actually don't shift gears like I used to think they do. It's just high and low. There's no gear shifting going on at all. There's also not a park on this engine. So you notice there's not a park lever here either. It's just low, high, neutral, reverse. So on the Can-Ams, this is the most common failure point, this long drive shaft that goes through the cases. And I think on the brute forces too, if you build these motors, that's also the weak point. Oh, here's the rod bolt. Yeah, it literally looks like it just came loose. It didn't break. Nothing. All that damage just from getting danged up in there. It literally looks like the rod bolt just came loose, backed out. That's what caused all of this. Let's make sure I don't make that same mistake whenever I go back together with it. That's the rod bearing. But I guess I'll go ahead and pull this motor out of this frame. It's basically already there. The only thing holding it in is the exhaust. The motor mounts down there are already loose and everything. But I did go over here and put a wrench on it. And you can see that this thing is not locked up. It spins over freely. And it actually feels like it's got pretty good compression. But the only bad thing is, you can see they left these carburetors off out in the weather. So the heads down in there have got a ton of rust down in them, which is just really sad to see. I will say this exhaust does look like it has equal length headers. So you can see that one back there goes down, way down into the frame and back, and then up to the cylinder. So I feel like this exhaust would sound really good. Really thinking about running it. That looks bad, but that's just RTV in there. It's not actually scratched up. Cam's got a little bit of rust on it. Not bad though, it's just surface rust. Does have a little bit of scarring on it. Nothing crazy. Oh, well, that's not good. Bent the oil fill tube. That kind of sucks. This head doesn't look old at all though. It's like they siliconed everything, even the head gasket. Look at that, it's all RTV. What the heck? Oh my God, look at this cylinder, all the RTV on there. Never seen that before. The seller did seem right about this being a built motor though, because this does look like a high compression piston. Let me grab one of the other ones real quick. So this one's from the other motor. You see how it's got a big dish in it? And then this one on the edges and in the middle is all raised up. So that's a high compression piston. I'll have to look up the numbers on there to see exactly what it is, but now I'm curious to see what cranks in this one. It had a hot rods crank in the other one, but now it makes sense to why they had all this RTV on here. I bet they were having head gasket issues because of the high compression pistons. It's kind of funny. Some of my friends were asking me whenever I rebuild this thing if I'm going to go back with high compression pistons and build the motor. And I was just like, man, I love going to OEM because you don't have to worry about issues like this. You know, that Raptor I had, I put a high compression piston, stage 2 cams and everything, and I had issues with the head gaskets blowing out. So I think I'm just gonna go back completely stock. These engines have plenty of power from factory, but I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on that. Golly, it's so rusted in the cylinder. Oh my gosh. That is so sad to see, man. Golly. What looks like a fairly brand new piston just left to rust. It's got a little bit of wear on it, not bad. But here's the moment of truth. Does the rod have slack in it? Ah, no. Of course it does. A ton of slack. You guys can see down in there. That is terrible. And again, on the front cylinder, which is odd. Usually it's the rear cylinder that goes out. So I'm definitely gonna have to buy a crank. Ain't no way around that. This crank doesn't have a name on it. It's just numbers down there. If you guys can see it. It just says out 128728. So I guess I'm gonna have to look that up and see what it is. Oh man. It's terrible, man. I hate to see that. This one definitely got more exposed. One of the valves must have been open. So painful to witness. These pistons definitely had some miles on them though. I mean, they're not brand new, but definitely could have got some more use out of them if they wouldn't have completely trashed this thing by leaving it outside like that. And that rod bearing's solid. Don't have any play in it at all. This water pump impeller down here was loose. It wasn't completely off of there, but it was loose. There's a ton of RTV around. Pretty much everywhere there's a gasket on this thing, there is just a absolute ton of RTV on it. Oh my gosh, I forgot to drain the oil. Oh no. Oh no. Jeez. I think the crank's bent because when I took that bolt out earlier out of the case, it was bent. And if you look right here at the end of the crank, it's got a big crack right there. There's a big piece missing at the end. And it's actually like flared out. So you can see I can't get this bearing off. I guess I can just knock it in some since it's messed up anyway. Oh wow, this whole thing's loose on here. Didn't even need to use a puller to get that off. This poor motor. Wasn't too bad. It's not sheared off. I don't know how the flywheel came loose like that. It's weird. Oil pump on this one looks a little bit rougher. Looks like it's had a little bit of trash go through it at some point. Not too terribly bad. Transmission looks perfectly fine. Where the heck did that come from? Weird. Finding all kind of stuff in this engine. I do want to pull this rod off real quick. Just see if this crank's damaged. Obviously it is damaged down here. I don't know really what happened, but I think that little keyway is just for the little pull starter thing. So I don't think that really matters. Being as this has so much slack in it though, I doubt this crank's savable. But let's see. Jeez. Yeah, the rods look a little worn. Yeah, this one don't look bad at all. These look stock. They look like the OEM. Bearings are literally like welded together. So that's the side that was knocking. Completely worn out. Oof. This was the good side. Yeah. Definitely had some heat and wear in them at some point. See how one side's like polished? Real smooth. That other side's got that rough finish on it. I could probably send it to a machine shop and have it polished and it be savable. I don't see any like huge gashes in it anywhere. But again, that piece up there is pretty torn up, so either way, I'm gonna have to get a rod, at least one rod, because this one, it's got a lot of wear in it. So I'll probably just get a full rebuild kit for it. Unfortunately, it would be cool to run these high compression pistons, but they're pretty shot too, so. And these cylinders on the parts bike are completely rusted. And obviously the cylinders on the one that was in it are completely busted. This one actually looks fine. See, it's still got the cross hatching in it, but there is, you know, a couple nicks on it. And if I'm gonna go ahead and get one, I might as well get both of them. All the pistons are completely destroyed. I'm pretty sure I can salvage the cylinder heads over here on the engine that was in it. You can see they don't look bad at all. The cam journals and everything were fine. The one on the parts bike was in kind of rough shape, so I probably won't use those. You can see how this engine uses a regular style ball bearing for the main bearing on this side, but over here it uses this little bushing style bearing. And I don't know if you can really tell on camera, but it is in pretty rough shape. So I'm gonna have to get a new one of those, and probably all new bearings, because all these bearings feel a little crusty. You know, you can see this is all the stuff that was sitting down in this engine for a long time. So I'm gonna have to get all new bearings for this thing just to make sure. Even these over here feel a little crunchy. Oh man, it's unfortunate. You know, I was expecting this when I went to go pick this thing up, but I kind of, I don't know, hyped myself up a little bit and gave myself a sense of false hope, thinking that it might be something simple. So now I'm kind of disappointed. But either way, this is what I wanted. I wanted to be able to tear this thing all the way down and rebuild it from scratch. And I guess I got what I wished for. So I'll have to get some parts ordered, and in the next video, we'll start going back together with this thing. As always, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.